So y'all remember when we drove 300 miles in a day to go get that air seeder? Let me show you what we got going on today. We're finally working on the air seeder. It's a bit of work, We didn't realize it needed this much work. Many of the gauge wheels, this is what you would call the gauge wheel. It's probably a better example down here. Gauge wheel, opener, press wheel, closing wheel, from my understanding. So many of these gauge wheels are a little sloppy in play where it pivots. Let's take this one for example, because I gotta work on it next. It should not be that sloppy. This gauge wheel's gone. Ripped right off the bearing, so I don't know how that's gonna work. But you can see how sloppy the play is. In between here, this shank, cast shank, is two bushings and a sleeve, and that's supposed to keep it tight. Well, those nylon sleeves, they wear out and they're no good anymore. So to relieve that, we're replacing some with kind of our own method. So hopefully we can get her done before the weekend, and maybe next week after it dries up, maybe get some cover crop planted. So what I'm actually going to do, this is the shank on top, right next to the one that's got the bad gauge wheel. I'm actually going to take the down pressure spring out, just loosen it, and then this thing can push that way and I'll have enough room to work through the bottom. So, and these buggers, they're kind of tight. Get that spring out of there. Yeah, a little pressure on it, but there. So then this spring comes right on it. Hands are already filthy and I just started. Anyway, so what I did is just remove this piece out from up top, and now this thing will be pushed in. I got plenty of room to work here because I got a ream down. I need room. So now, time to take off everything else. Gauge wheel, opener, bunch of stuff. So this is the thing that we need to replace. But next, opener. I have been banging the opener off. It's a little easier to separate opener from the hub. A little noisy, but hub's got to come off first. This cap off. Gonna probably spin it off with my hand, but there. Hub off. Alright, C-tube. 2 bolts. C-tube. Out of the way. Roll pin out. There's the whole arm. This whole thing pretty much sets your depth, but it's a little wore. It's not terrible. Down in here, there is 2 bushings, which we need to hammer out. There. See, it's pretty thin. We take the reamer, ream this zombie out. Without doing that. Without doing that. There. Now we got a nice flush cast. on to the next step. So what I'm using is just this pipe. And we're gonna cut just this pipe, and we're gonna cut it. Oh, I've just been eyeballing it because it really doesn't matter. Come over here and clean it off. A little bit of metal stuck in my hand. So, yeah, you can see it's wore here and it's wore here. That's where the edge of the shank, that's where it sits on. That's where those bushings are supposed to be. We're gonna slip this over, and hopefully, once we put it back in, it'll be nice and tight. I'm actually gonna clean all these shavings out of here with the Dremel. Make sure you do it so all the little filings come right back at your face. So hopefully that creates a nice smooth tunnel. Hopefully that's smooth enough. This can slip right on. Look at that. Give a little bit of encouragement. Look at that. Perfect. I want enough room on there because there's gonna be a washer here and then the roll pin. Remember, I need this washer. That goes here. Slide that back in. The hole somehow. Am I lined up correctly? Or there we go. Look at that. There we go. Now once I lift up on it, no wiggle, nice and tight. That's how we want it. And now you can see this thing ain't moving as much. Got a little wiggle too, which is probably fine, but it's much more solid than, say, this one. That was not terrible, but that one was pretty bad. Alright guys, so yesterday we got a little bit planted with the air seeder. Had to do a little fixing this morning. I'm gonna go ahead and load up the rest of the seat. Hey, whoa, whoa, hey. There we go. Yeah, we just lifted up with the loader and the pallet forks. Bring it on over. 2 bins in this cart. The back bin is a little bigger than the front bin. So, and what we're planning here is peas and barley. So we're gonna try to fit all the barley in the back compartment here. That way we don't have to reload. Yeah, we're hoping this bag fits in here, but I don't know, it's getting pretty full. A little bit of room in there. There we go. Now we're empty. One day I want to try putting a GoPro up and on here. Alright, so that's the barley bin filled. Now we got the peas. Okay. You gotta undo it down here. A little bit of a knot. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, get out. Hey, what are you doing? Barely have any room to get anything. Why do you keep lowering it? Guy, huh? Oh, kill me like you did yesterday. Now I got it. Okay. Now. That works perfectly. That's the peas done. Alright guys, so I got the seeder folded down. We're doing the back half of the north field that we have. And yeah, we're gonna get going here and see how it works. Last night we didn't quite finish. We ran out of seed, so today we're gonna put one more bag of barley in and hopefully finish up this field. That way we can get broadcast it with alfalfa and then drag it, and then we should be done with this guy.